We are live. This is the market update. Welcome to GANN World. I'm your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto and you want to know why this market is down and you want to know when it's going to go back up again, well, don't go anywhere because I've got all the charts you need. Subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live and hit the like button. Likes are like money. There's never enough. All right, let's welcome who's on the stream. We have Mike. Am I late? No, Mike, you are first. Wrong again. SFG, Richard Barry, Augusta, Georgia. Welcome. CH, JCH, Rugby Performance Labs, Ike, just in time. Starting to stream at the top of the hour. Look at me. Okay, Silvergate was crypto's 24/7 on-off ramp. How important is it that it's missing? You know what? That's a great question, and we don't know the answer. And the fact that we don't know the answer is the problem, and that's why this market is down, other than the tax crypto follies in the government budget. We're going to go through everything, and you're going to be amazed at how the GANN research connects to what's going on today, and we're going to use that to try to develop a trading plan. BitBoy Al, Reverend Flashback, Big Rich, what's up? Andre, GAN Nation, yes. All right, Robert is here. Phoenix, yes, we got the new green screen background going on. This is only the beginning. Moon Sector 7 from Norway. Rugby Performance Labs wants to know, is 1929 on the table for this year? I'm like, well, bro, let's... I appreciate the thinking in terms of I want to be prepared, right? The big question is prepared for what? I'm going to go over all that. Okay. Let's dive into, let's start with news. Even wealthy landlords are skipping payments on office building, writes Bloomberg. Ruh-roh. Okay. Commercial real estate is the next nuke. Now, is it going to be a quiet nuke, a big nuke? I don't know, but it can't be good. It can't be. Silvergate Capital is about fundamentals, not just crypto. Huh. So I guess it's not a problem. I like this. Silvergate Capital will liquidate after crypto collapse wipes out banks. And other headlines say things like, oh, Silvergate will be winding down operations. Really? You guys closing down a Target? You wind it down, you know, put the inventory at 90% off? How do you wind down a bank? Well, guess what? Not everybody at the bank is going to get all their money back. Even if Silvergate had things like treasuries on their balance sheet that were giving them interest, what are they going to get for those treasuries if they bought them a year ago? Yikes, right? So when something like Silvergate winds down its operation, oh, don't they make that sound nice and orderly? People, these things are never orderly, ever. Now, yesterday on the show, and then later today, I'm going to be on a big crypto podcast. There's something you need to know about this. When you put money in Coinbase, those dollars don't sit in Coinbase. They go into a bank that Coinbase has a relationship with. So if you got money inside of an exchange, that exchange puts it in the bank. Well, if the exchange is not getting your money back from the bank, the exchange can't have another FTX or the whole industry's done. So they're going to sell crypto inventory to give their depositors their funds back. And even if that's not the case, obviously the way this market trades down only, somebody is caught, somebody is doing forced liquidation. Yesterday's little JPMorgan, we're getting rid of Gemini headline, which was immediately denied by Gemini, also stinks to high heaven. Okay. So there's something out there. Something's going on. We don't know what it is. And that's why the market's down only. And everybody is freaking out in front of the inflation number, the payroll number, and then the Fed meeting, because what could be more toxic than more crypto contagion with Fed uncertainty, an interest rate problem, an inflation problem, or a real estate problem created by the interest rate problem? It's complicated. The GANN work's going to help us sort it out and develop a trading and investment plan. Now, speaking of plans, wow, these guys just keep on giving, right? Gary loses in court and they have to pull Joe off the bench to come after crypto. Let's double capital gains taxes, fix the wash sale rule. By the way, speaking of taxes, we have a link down below for a tax pro. So given this headline, we'll talk more about it later. It's pro Bitcoin solutions. So down below, they're giving you guys half off, research on taxes per blockchain. So if you have ETH and XRP, that'll be $20 each instead of $80. More on that later. The government just won't stop. And this stuff with taxes is why Bitcoin, as of the recording of this on March 9th, is down more than ETH. Because whales and Bitcoin are the ones with the capital gains tax problem if they've been hodling it for over a year. That and Uncle Sam's got a whole bunch of Bitcoin queued up that they may wind up selling at the market, trying to break things. Now that Bitcoin is eventually going to get hoovered up by the likes of BlackRock or even the Fed. That's my opinion. But they're doing a wonderful job of scaring the market, right? And you have to respect this because, again, we've been calling for this for a week and a half to the point where I had to get the red hat out. People got to preserve capital, right? First, you had to have dry powder. Now it's like borderline get halfway to the chopper. It's not funny what's going on here because you could have some flash wick down. Now, again, this is good yet disturbing. Stablecoins and ETH are going to be commodities according to the CFTC chair, which is what they are now. Which in other words means Gensler's wrong and it's not going to happen. This whole thing about outlawing everything except Bitcoin. Straight up FUD. It's never going to happen. The government's telling you that, but the market's down anyway. In a bull market, like 6 weeks ago, if Gary Gensler and XRP, if XRP can have its expert witness, if the judge laughed the SEC out of the courtroom in the grayscale hearing, why is it that the market is not up? Like in a bull market, these headlines, things would be up 10%, but they're not, which means something's out there, right? FCA officials tell the Parliament crypto regulation is unavoidable. What's unavoidable is government stupidity. That's what's unavoidable. Every big recession, every big panic, every big problem can be traced back to something that governments did in the economy. Don't believe me? I got stuff coming up to show you. So Biden's tax the rich budget, capital gains rates near 45%. Fantastic economics on the part of public officials. So this is not popular, but soak the billionaires is the order of the day. Unless you happen to work for one and he starts laying people off in 1,000-person increments. In other words, you may think tax the rich is a good idea, but what are the rich going to think about that? And are they going to take it out on you? So I know governments need to operate, and I know people need to pay their fair share, etc. But you better be careful with this eat the rich mentality, because one day somebody's going to consider you rich, even if you don't consider you rich. Not to mention the fact that it's great for economic growth to have capital markets collapsing. According to George Soros and a theory called reflexivity, economic growth will follow markets, not vice versa. Most people in an economics textbook thinks that, the stock market will follow the path of the economy. Reflexivity from Soros, which I hate to say it was right from a long time ago, the economy follows the markets. So if Biden and friends wreck the market, You're going to have more layoffs. U.S. jobless claims jumped to 211,000, led by Wall Street and Silicon Valley related carnage in California. This makes the picture very difficult to figure out, right? In other words, the labor market is clearly rolling over. It's never rolling over enough for the Fed, or so we've been told. And we don't know how the Fed's going to react to a labor market that's rolling over if inflation is still hot. Now, if inflation is not hot and the labor market is rolling over, well, then crypto and gold are going to smoke so hard to the upside, it's not even funny. Okay? That's the one bright spot in all this, is that after the panic selling is over, one way or the other, crypto is going to be a buy. We just don't know if that's Bitcoin 20K or if it's Bitcoin 14K. We don't know. And we won't know until the numbers come out. What we do know is that people will panic. We'll go over that with the GANN stuff. And when they do panic, I want you to be safe, and then you be able to step in and go, oh, you're panicking? Oh, you're selling your crypto? Oh, excellent. Thank you very much. I will take all that off your hands. That's what I want you to be. Not, oh my God, the sky is falling. SEC versus Ripple. Could the XRP case go to trial? I don't think you want the general public deciding the fate of crypto, personally. I hope the judge just sort of says, this has gone on long enough. Cathie Wood's flagship fund tops $300 million in fees despite losses, proving once again that the only way to get famous at Wall Street is to lose money. Unbelievable. Discord adds OpenAI functions to offering from chat to moderation. This is almost getting to the point where if you're not doing something with ChatGPT and AI, it feels like you're behind the times. And you know what? I understand everyone's chasing the bullish AI narrative. I mean, after using this Microsoft product to do the GAN work, I almost feel like checking into Microsoft stock. Because if they get it in Bing and then they put it in Word and Excel, AI can help the government catch wealthy tax cheats. Skynet is coming for you. BitMex founder Arthur Hayes proposes Bitcoin-based stablecoins. The guy wants to get away from the US dollar. I thought that was the whole point of crypto. And crypto gets in trouble for trying to make substitutions or imitations of the dollar. It's one of the funniest things that they'll write about in the history of crypto. Mt. Gox's registration deadline pushed out for another month. Creditors have another month to file claims as the registration deadline pushed back a month. So this FUD story never goes away. Everybody's always afraid of all this Bitcoin hitting the market all at once. Really hope this kind of thing doesn't come out in like June if the market is on the ropes. I mean, that's the worst thing that could happen, is that they unlock this Bitcoin when people are panicking. Crypto.com can't maintain fiat on-ramps, right? So it's almost like if you've got a Coinbase account, the Coinbase account set up already with a bank link is like gold, because it feels like all these other on-ramps are going to get canceled. And I'm starting to wonder if this creates almost like a Coinbase monopoly, right? So that if there is a vortex lower in this market, that may be an investment opportunity, because I don't know how the general public is going to get money from a bank into any crypto exchange. 5 countries leading blockchain adoption. El Salvador. If I had enough dough, I'd buy property there. Portugal, right? Talking about going to Portugal at another company I work for. Singapore, one of the most beautiful countries I've ever seen. Malta, UAE. And guess what? I saw a news article yesterday. Hong Kong wants to get in the game. So we're getting rid of crypto and the Chinese are coming back in through Hong Kong. Will we ever learn? Okay, let's go check out who's in here. What's going on? Okay, Wrong Again says Operation Choke Point has got to be challenged. Rudy is like, not Puerto Rico. You know, I don't think so. I think a lot of ICO guys went down to Puerto Rico in 2018 and got in trouble. So Jeff is here. So is Chris. Welcome. Right? Jeff giving me the notorious love from New Orleans. Thank you. We have Bart, Rave Song Records, Crypto Bullseye. Who's feeding the bear? Somebody was making fun of the bear yesterday. I don't think they're making fun of me today, but we definitely welcome Crypto Bullseye and encourage you to check out his YouTube channel. Okay. Aiken with the notorious love. Thank you. Mr. Finland wants me to run for president. Man, I would love to. I would love to. Wrong Again says it's either a heroic buy right now with a massive pump post number or a horrific mistake to buy right now. Okay, this is a great point. When you have these huge numbers, algos get involved trading them. So, you know, the number may come in and show the labor market's weak. But whoever is sitting on all this crypto that has to be sold on a distressed basis may be there selling. So I'm not really in a hurry to do anything unless they just drop it so hard it's obvious they're panicking. Okay. Language Trader says, I'm hanging out. It's perfectly okay. Perfectly okay. All right. Let's go to PowerPoint. Start blasting through what I got here. Welcome to GAN World. Okay. So this is a refined version of the astronomy work from yesterday. And we're going to talk out almost like a fireside chat, how this environment looks like the past and what we're going to do tactically based on history. Pro Bitcoin Solutions /Noble, link down below and in the chat, $20 per chain. So they can do your taxes. These guys do Bitcoin forensics, right? That's what their main gig was. And then they got into the tax business. So for $20 per coin, they can go in and figure out what your capital gains are and then give you $50 off a report for $150 that you can then take, you know, a spreadsheet that comes with it, give it to your accountant, do your taxes, right? Just do them, right? And these guys are making it so easy. I paid 3 times what they would have charged me before these guys came to me. Now, back to Silvergate. What does Silvergate mean? Well, back in 2008, just a brief note, not to get hysterical, just a brief note, back then, Silvergate was Lehman. So Lehman Brothers was this huge bank. They had all these assets on their balance sheet that went to zero. The government declined to bail them out, and then they went bankrupt. And the market was already down at the time, and everyone's like, okay, they've gone bankrupt. It's over. They even did a little bit of a relief rally. And then, unbeknownst to most of us, right, except maybe the chart guys who were looking for like, you know, a modest drop, this turned into a massive crash. This turned into a disaster, right? Nobody had any idea that the whole world was going to need to sell S&P futures to protect themselves against this disaster. Now, Silvergate is not Lehman, but I don't think we should just sit here and go, well, Silvergate is winding down operations and everything's fine. When they tell you everything is fine, we know from last year, it's not. Or in this case, when they omit that somebody is caught somewhere. Someone is caught. And of course, when someone's caught and then they're piling tax issues on top of that, we have no idea what the Fed's going to do. It's no bueno, right? Don't think that just because somebody goes bankrupt, it's over. That's the point of that story. Now, let's talk about gold. Let's pretend that the Fed is not raising rates to 9% just for a moment, okay? Gold looks oversold enough, okay? It looks oversold enough so that if the dollar goes down off any of these economic numbers, gold can smoke higher. So I don't know that there's a trade to be done before the numbers, okay? But I do have my eyes on gold, okay? I've also got my eyes on GDX. This is gold mining stocks. There's a 13 bottom. Now, what stocks are going to probably do is they're going to have this huge heave down, okay? And then I think they're going to come back. They're going to, in other words, they'll do a mini version of whatever crypto is going to do. I don't think stocks can go down that much because people are so bearish that, yes, they can go down. There was a short squeeze recently. It could be a little ugly, but, I'm kind of thinking that if gold stocks hold, that they could be a buy. I'm not going to catch the falling knife here, but I'm definitely interested in how they perform. GDXJ is the same thing. Let's see how this 13 bottom pans out, right? It's just something I want to keep on my screen over the next 10 days. Now, the dollar index. Okay, so this is pretty simple, right? They rammed it higher than I thought to 106. There's resistance at 106. If they don't care, okay, if they don't care, then the dollar's going up, right? And if it goes through 106, I'm afraid of what can happen, especially to crypto, right? If the Fed goes super hawkish, right? So let's talk about the Fed going super hawkish and what that means. Okay, so the unemployment numbers are coming out. There'll be some blah, 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 blah about wages, but people are getting laid off and it's sad. Okay. Powell just got chewed out. Powell got chewed out by the Senate for creating an environment where people are going to lose their jobs. Now, that's probably going to be in the numbers somehow. But what may also be in the number is that people are getting raises to compensate for inflation, which economists call a wage price spiral. In other words, prices go up, people get raises. People get raises, prices go up. Prices go up, people get wages, more wages, on and on. Now, if that inflation data comes in hotter than anybody thinks, which is keeping me up at night, hence our thumbnail for today, where somebody's trying to dream the crypto happy dream, because, the crypto nightmare is a hawkish Fed and higher crypto taxes. Like, that is Bitcoin 14K on a rope, which I believe is an opportunity, because all we need here is for the Fed to go too far. Okay, but it depends on what that number says. It also depends on how the dollar reacts. If the dollar is up only, crypto will go down until the dollar stops. Now, I'm of the opinion that what's going to wind up happening is that if there is a spike up in the dollar, it's going to fail. Just like I think if there's a precipitous drop in crypto, that when the forced selling is done, it's going to come back violently. The only thing I don't know is how much it's going to go down. Is it 21? Is it 14K? I don't know, right? What I do know is I don't want you to get wrecked. Silver, they have run every single stop through the 62% retracement. They have done a wonderful job. They got everybody in up here bullish, and then they just ran the stops below 20.3. That's the 62% retracement. I would love to see a recovery in silver. I'm definitely going to be watching that closely. Now, Bitcoin, if you want to think happy thoughts, 21,500 is a GANN support. I guess we hope that holds, because if it doesn't, there's going to be a big problem. All right, Ethereum. There's a diamond formation in Ethereum on the daily chart. Okay, whichever direction Ethereum breaks out of this, like BitBoys guys have charts and stuff. They call this the blood diamond, right? A lot of times crypto can break out on the downside based on their nickname. All I know is you do not want to see ETH materially below a GANN point at 1525, right? You break out of the bottom of this, you may end up breaking out of the bottom of this. So even though ETH is holding like a bull today compared to Bitcoin, okay, these formations say ETH could move a lot on its own and ETH could move a lot against Bitcoin. It would be pretty funny if Bitcoin went down more than ETH, causing this measure to go up a lot. That would be funny. Actually, it wouldn't be that funny because that would be bad for crypto. But volatility, epic volatility is coming, is the long and the short of these formations in ETH. Now, let's go to GANN. Okay, GANN world, welcome to it. 3 major astrological events happening. Saturn enters a portion of space known as Pisces. Okay, that was March 7th. That means you got to get real about your positions and don't have any fantasies about your particular altcoin. This includes me. Okay, full moon, March 7th, 2023. Full moons of March in years ending in 3 have turned out badly for financial markets. Hybrid eclipse, hybrid solar eclipse, April 20th. A hybrid eclipse is rare and complicated. Rare and complicated. Okay, depending on where you are on the planet, you're going to see different things. You may even see different things throughout the day and night. It's complicated. According to ChatGPT, there was one of these hybrid solar eclipses, okay, the day or the year of the death of a prominent religious figure. That definitely got my attention. Okay, I then proceeded to look at all these occurrences and what they might have meant. So, full moons, years ending in 3 in March. Why years ending in 3? GANN loved to look at 10-year cycles. 10-year cycles, 20-year cycles, 90-year cycles. Straight 10-year cycle. March, year ending in 3. March 1983, Federal Reserve down here on the bottom raises its discount rate by 1% to 8.5%, triggering a sharp drop in bonds and a monster dollar rally. 1993, India devalues its currency by 20%. So in March of 1993, India devalued its currency 20%. March 23rd, 2003, U.S.-led invasion of Iraq starts with strikes on Baghdad. This is no doubt lost on Mr. Putin, who undoubtedly has a Bloomberg terminal and a history book on his desk where he launched cruise missiles at, Ukrainian energy infrastructure overnight. What a nice guy. March 15, 2013, Cyprus does a bail-in. You're like, you mean a bailout? No, I mean a bail-in, meaning they went into your bank account, the government went into the bank accounts of the people to pull money out to pay international creditors. Guys like the International Monetary Fund, the guys that hang out at Davos. So, full moons in years ending in 3, what have we got already? We got a missile strike and we got Silvergate. And crypto is down only. Spooky. Gives me the chills. That's why I've been telling y'all to do what you have to do to manage risk so you don't get wrecked. Hybrid solar eclipse. If you watch a hybrid solar eclipse at sunrise or sunset, you may see a ring of fire, meaning you'll see the moon with like flames going on around it, right? Sounds like a perfect environment to be like risk on with cowboy altcoins. Hardly. Okay. Now, the most recent eclipses in the modern history that I've been in markets for, that's how few there have been, are 2005 and 2013. In 2013, you had the following things occur. The U.S. government shut down for 16 days due to an impasse between Congress and President Obama. Just as a laugh, remember when we used to think a guy like President Obama was left-wing? What I wouldn't give to to have Obama back if you look at what the left in America is today. Just saying. Love you, Barack. Wish you were back. Bitcoin reached a record high of $1,000 per coin and then collapsed. So in 2013, you had a Bitcoin move from 200 to 1,000 and then massive volatility thereafter. Something to think about. U.S. economy slowed sharply in 2005. Why? Well, there was a massive surge in energy prices, right? CRB index, right, changed the way it was calculated, okay? New regulations in production led to an explosion in the commodity derivatives market. Energy prices went to 70. Metal prices here, copper, zinc, aluminum, meets multi-year highs. And strangely, agricultural prices, wheat, corn, soybeans, fell to multi-year lows. So energy mooned. This is the Goldman Sachs Commodity Index weekly, more heavily weighted towards energy and metals, whereas CRB is a little bit different. CRB is specific to grains, agriculture, and metals. So GSCI was up 58% in 2005. So you're already seeing two things. You're seeing government crises from 2013, right? And you're seeing big moves or big events in commodities. In this case, it was basically China buying everything. 2005 was the start of a mega bull market, which eventually led to a huge bubble in oil. Okay. So go back to the start of the presentation, right? Somewhere in here, somewhere in this mess, there's going to be a big move in commodities. Now, I'm hoping it's gold up, gold and silver up. Not just because of who I work for, just because I think it's time. The government has screwed up to such a degree that once the forced selling gets done in crypto, crypto can join gold. But gold doesn't have the crypto forced selling, bankruptcy, men behaving badly, whatever's going on. So government's behaving badly and commodities are woven throughout GAN world. Now, 2005, also point of interest, when commodities go up, normally the dollar goes down. So interesting that 2005 was practically a dollar crash with the dollar going from 90 to 70. Interesting, huh? Very. 2013, rate hikes, taper tantrum, probably the funniest interest rate tightening in history. Ben Bernanke was threatening to pull a little bit of sugar from the market, taking the amount of money he printed from $85 billion a month to $75 billion a month. Can you imagine the nerve of him? Right? Key events from the Fed 2013, the year of the taper tantrum. So, yeah, they finally actually did do it in December after threatening it all year. And every time they would say anything, you'd have these 5% declines in equities, which, of course, to a chart guy like me, made it look like the market was going to break. And, of course, it never did. They would scare the market. You know, the Fed would scare the market, and then the market would scare the Fed. And it went right back up again. Okay, and who knows? Maybe the same thing's going to happen this time. Maybe they're all going to come out and everyone's going to be afraid of the Fed and everyone's going to dump everything. And then one day everyone's going to wake up and go, wait a minute, why are we selling? This could happen. Okay, but this is the theme. Like rate hikes, commodities, government crises, all over this. Now here's Bitcoin, right? So there's the eclipse move from 250 to 1,000. And then the next monthly candle, okay, it unwound itself. You got to be careful of this. All the way up, all the way down. I wouldn't be surprised if it was the reverse. History repeats itself. History doesn't repeat. It often rhymes. So I'm wondering if 2013 was all the way up, all the way down. I'm wondering if 2023 is all the way down, all the way up. You got V top. Let's go V bottom. Okay, now here are the lists of all the solar eclipses. So if you've ever taken social studies, you're now back in social studies class. And this part is about figuring out how the past is usable for the future. Okay, so we're going to study, these are all the eclipse years in the 1800s. Okay, these are all the eclipses in the 20th century or the 21st century. You have 1900, 1986, 1987, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a feel for all of it. So 1803, we bought half of America from France. It's called the Louisiana Purchase. 1816, I'm doing this and I'm like, wow, you know, this is going to be pretty boring. I wonder if I should even bother with this. Turns out I should. Guess what? After the War of 1812, where the Americans fought the British, there was a dollar crisis. They had to create something called the Second Bank of the United States on March 14th. Okay. Apparently, the dollar had to be devalued and kind of collapsed after the War of 1812. Okay. The experience of financial instability and currency devaluation during the War of 1812 convinced many American politicians of the utility of a central bank. Never let a good crisis go to waste, right? There was your creation of the Fed. War, inflation, currency devaluation leads to a dollar crisis. 1836. Nothing happened in 1836, right? Wrong. President Andrew Jackson, who I believe was a tough guy, okay, said speculation in federal land is out of control. Does that sound familiar? And he said people can no longer use paper money to speculate in land. Everybody had to pay in gold and silver. And people go, ruh-roh, how am I going to speculate if I got to have hard money? Well, guess what? You don't. This was a reaction to excessive speculation after the Indian removal, which was mostly done with paper money. So not only did we hurt the people who were living there, which is shameful, but we did it with printed money or paper money. We never learn. Okay, so the fact that they went to gold instead of paper was effectively a tightening move. And this contributed to, up here, the Panic of 1837. So, I mean, the rest of this presentation is the panic of. Every single one of these things wound up in some kind of panic, right? In 1836, gold and land crashed. 1874, nothing happened in 1874, right? Wrong. Okay, 1874 was a hangover from the Panic of 1873. 1874, President Ulysses Grant vetoed a bill to add liquidity to the financial markets by increasing circulation of the greenback. Paper money not backed by gold or silver. So again, gold and silver is involved, and so is Fed rate hike cycle, not Fed, or tightening cycles. Commodities, tightening, panic. Every single hybrid solar eclipse. Also, for a laugh, not laugh, in 1874, the Crimean War was going on between Russia and an alliance of Britain, France, and Turkey. You can't make this stuff up. 1889, panic, copper fraud. Somebody tried to corner the copper market. Okay? This panic had all kinds of implications throughout capital markets. Panic of 1896, another eclipse year, a drop in, get this, silver reserves. You watch these gold bug channels where they're like, oh, well, silver is depleted, or we're running out of silver, or physical silver is disappearing. 1900, U.S. goes on the, get this, the gold standard, leading to potentially the panic of 1901. Now, there were other things that led to that, but again, people were using checks as payments, and people felt the need to start backing the dollar with gold. Okay? Checks became more common means of payment as they were more convenient and secure than coins. currencies, gold, dollar crises, and panics. Okay? Panics. Okay? Now, let's move to modern times. 1986, you had a massive crash in oil. OPEC members were unable to agree on a unified production quota. Oil went from $30 a barrel in 1985 to below $10 a barrel by mid-1986. And I do know people who were around for that oil bust in Texas. Okay? So you had an oil crash and you had a DXY crash in 1986. Another dollar problem. According to data, the low in the US dollar, the high, all right, sorry. So the low, the high, in 1986, the high of the dollar in February was 109. That's DXY. Then in 1986, the low was 80. DXY went from 109 to 80. Can you imagine where crypto would be if DXY went from 104 to 80? Forget about it. This is why I want you to be there in case this thing falls out of bed. Now, 1987, March is the date of the eclipse. That started a spiral higher in interest rates. The 30-year mortgage rate went from 9% to 11%. Does this sound familiar at all? A massive rise in interest rates as Alan Greenspan, who took over for Paul Volcker, decided to show how tough he was. Does that sound familiar? It does. How bad was the 1987 crash? Well, I could tell you the market went down 25%, but the decline was so bad that, Merrill Lynch executives were getting, harmed by people who lost money, right? An investor who lost $500,000 and a police officer who lost money in the market both passed away. So people weren't throwing themselves out of buildings. But believe me when I tell you, 1987 was something that nobody who was in it or came into the market after it would ever forget. 1994, a massive tightening cycle. The Fed increased the funds rate, right? They did 75 basis points at a time, right? And they did about 250 basis points worth of tightening. Now, to state the obvious, tomorrow is the payroll report, March 10th. Inflation is the 14th, and the FOMC is the 22nd. This looms large. Somewhere in this mix, a tightening cycle is going to create a panic, right? That's the net of the 20-minute talk you just heard. Tightening cycles create a panic. Where's the panic? Stocks, crypto, real estate. Then, after the panic or around the panic, a massive move in the dollar or commodities begins. So, does Powell lose his mind and just take Fed funds to 9%, destroying gold and crypto? Maybe. But it could all get started tomorrow or this week. Or did the Fed really break something and the dollar is going to blow up, and that's the crisis? How many people do you know on YouTube saying, you know what, we're about to have a dollar crisis? Now, people would love a dollar crisis, but I got GANN work that says you could have one. Now, you could also have a dollar crisis, at least for crypto, if the dollar goes back up again. We certainly don't want that. But based on this GANN work, you don't want to disrespect any theory about any big move. So let these algos trade these numbers. Don't get chopped up unless they drop crypto so hard it's irresistible. Okay? But don't get chopped up. Don't. Because somewhere in here is a big, broader move that could actually last years, which makes me happy that I'm like, all right, let's figure this out, right? There's going to be a huge move in commodities, going to be a huge move in the dollar. There's going to be a financial panic. How can we trade it and make money? Okay. Now, a little bit on charts. We did this yesterday. Stocks hit a trend line, came off. There is an Ethereum analog comparing ETH to COVID. People thought this was stupid. You know, I don't think it's my favorite thing, but it does show that you could have a flash event in ETH. You can have a flash event. You can have it in Bitcoin as well, especially if they're talking about the government moving Bitcoin to Coinbase to possibly unload on this thing. You don't know what's going on here. That's the problem. So is it COVID all over again? No. But is it an analog showing a possible big drop? Yes. Yes. Right? You could have a 5-wave down in Bitcoin, right? This was on the stream yesterday. If you missed it, people talking about, 1974 bear market, 08, and this one. I think people are massively bearish here. So I think if there is a huge heave lower in equities, that's going to help hold everything up because people are just too bearish at this point in the stock market. Okay. And that is the market update. Okay. Now we're going to switch into live TA because the only real way to deal with this market before a number is to do live TA. Okay. So MMC John says Italy is in full crisis mode. Okay. Would love to hear more about that in the comments. Shizzy says, Bill, this sucks to listen to. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I'm going to tell you why. Right? Do you realize how people like George Soros made their money? They made their money, Soros did, in that 1986 dollar decline. These trends make legends. And there are legendary trends coming. In order to take advantage of those trends, you got to have capital. MMC John wants to know where the red shirt is. Not doing the red shirt. Not doing it. Because it's not, I don't think it's a bear market. I think it's like the end of a bear market. Like the final heave. Okay? The final heave. Okay? Rudy likes the backdrop. Warrior Mama wants GLDN and Bark updates. Okay, so the Bark airdrop was postponed, just because they didn't want to do it in the middle of a crash, which to me makes sense. So the Bark airdrop is coming, as I understand it. Okay, GLDN is a small cap gold play. So right now it's acting like the rest of the gold crypto space, but we're waiting for gold to turn around, right? Also, the GLDN DEX, right? I don't know if they've made a formal announcement on that, but they have announced what platform they're going to build it on. I'll find out what I can say later. Okay. Rudy is like, time to hoover it up. Saskatchewan is in the house. Okay. Richard is happy he caught the stream live. Okay. Let's share screen. Okay. Now, when we go to the DeMark work, we can certainly figure out why the market is trading the way it is. So I took a little bit of crap because they said this grass growing formation is bad. It meant somebody was sitting up here, just had all the crypto you needed, and we still don't know what's going on. We still don't know, right? So Driftless, welcome. Okay. When you have a 13 bottom and this goes up for one 90-minute bar and then goes straight down, somebody is being forced out. Now, there is some evidence here that this could be the end, right? But it may not be the end today. It may be the end tomorrow. Meaning, whoever's going to sell is doing so aggressively now. 1474 is a key level in ETH. So with ETH below 1525, that was the big GAN level. It's hard to tell where this can stop. Like, for example, on the Bitcoin 4-hour chart, you could have another down day like this. You have support at 20,200. Okay. This will tell you, though, that this down move is coming to a close. Just where is it coming to a close? That's the issue. XRP, very important lesson here. Okay. Never celebrate relative outperformance in crypto, right? Crypto beats Gary Gensler, right? SEC embarrassed, thrown out of court, XRP doing well, and then it gets smacked, right? Because there's something wrong in the market. So if they're selling the thing that should be going up, there's something wrong with the market. Okay, let's go to altcoins. Greetings from Germany. Welcome. Okay, so this is Bitcoin Weekly. Okay, the next level I have is 18,400. That's what happens if you get below 20K. You know, the worst case scenario, I was thinking either 11 or 14 is worst case. Okay, ETH, I don't really have any of those levels to talk about. I've got a moving average at 1420, which is the 2017 high. Okay, and in Bitcoin on the daily chart, the best support point is at 16,500. I'm hoping tomorrow is a 9 bottom and this ends with one giant heave back down to 16. Like that's the best case scenario, that they just end it right off one of the numbers. Okay. Okay. Somebody's asking for the next buy levels in Gala. Okay. So here's ICP, since I have it pulled up. Okay. Support in ICP is at 440. God, look at Solana. Support in Solana was 1788. You know, when I look at this DeMark work, it's like the 9 bottom is the first part of the trend. There's a modest counter trend move and it just resumes. You know, avalanche. Oh my God, we had 1495 as a target. I don't know. 1414 is the support. Again, this is like forced selling. Now going to Gala. Okay, support is at 0.0325. And folks, listen, I know this is not the cheeriest stuff in the world, but the fact that I was able to use the AI to come up with the ideas of how to catch a big trend, right? On how to catch a big trend. The best trades are the toughest trades. And these guys that made money in the 80s and the 90s, this is how they did it. They identified when there was going to be big fundamental shifts. And off this eclipse, there's going to be big fundamental shifts. You just want to make sure that you are in one piece when it comes time to do the trade. Okay, I saw Tezos mentioned in the chat. Looks like there's a DeMark level at 95 cents. Okay. You know, what is frightening about some of these altcoins is these failed rallies, right? Like you had a good point at $1.04. They broke it. They came back up and it got rejected, right? You're hoping tomorrow is some sort of climactic 9 bottom, which, you know, you could get. You could get. Okay. Rudy is pumped for 14K. Like I want it and I don't want it. You know, I want it because that would be a great buy. I don't want it because, you know, if it goes to 14, it could also go to 11 if the Fed loses its mind. The important thing is to keep an open mind, and I'm not going to GAN you anymore after today, but you want to be thinking about panics, right? Taking advantage of the panics and what you can do in the commodity markets, right? That's going to be really important. 29 cents is the level that I would look at in Cardano. It is hard. It is shocking what is happening with this in terms of price action, right? I mean, you know, if it made a lower low, you would have support at 20 cents. Okay, this is Cardano on a weekly chart. Okay. Okay, Cadu Gomez says, now do I buy down low from the unpatient to the patient? Okay. I think he's saying if you're unpatient or not patient in this market, you could wind up a patient. He's actually right. That's why I've been screaming about all this and making y'all listen to GANN history lessons. People don't want to hear it, but when it comes to research, the stuff you don't want to hear is the stuff you need to hear. Because one of the first steps to making money on big trends is understanding how history fits into today. Now, Monero, government threatening to raise taxes, the whole market's down only, and Monero is holding a support point at 105, right? They're going to take everybody's crypto away or have all these taxes. Privacy is going to matter. Zcash, not everyone's favorite today, can't hold support. You're not the only one getting crushed. Crushing to see Zcash close to a new low. One of the things that the group I work for is going to have is going to be something called Block 47, where you're going to be able to stay on chain. So if you have crypto on chain and you don't have or want to do a fiat off ramp, you're going to be able to move into gold, diamonds, and jewelry from New York's 47th Street. The group is called Block 47, and revenue from those enterprises will go to buy back GLDN. So the more revenue is created from online jewelry sales, which, will have NFT ownership certificates and a very cool alternative asset theme that plays into the GLDN universe. That's why I'm keeping my fingers crossed here that the dollar crisis is dollar lower, which means gold up, way up. You know what I'm saying? Just praying. Okay. Baby Whale says, F you and the feds. All right. Well, don't F me. I'm trying to help you. Okay. The feds, different story. Different story. Litecoin, there's a DeMark point at 67 in the event of some kind of crazy dislocation. So if you're looking for a plan, right? And then this is Litecoin taking out, which should have been support at 83. Okay. What you're noticing here is that it's relatively difficult to find support. Support levels are like way below the market. Like Litecoin, I could say 75 or 67. Okay. PK says XMR was McAfee's choice. Zcash is, Snowden's choice. Yeah. I like Zcash, and I'm getting hurt in that. I'm getting hurt on that. Okay, someone's asking about Canto. Let's see if I can get that. Okay, equity is getting smashed. We're going to have to look at that in a minute. Okay, don't have a lot of price action to work off here on Canto. I'm going to have to come back to it. Trading View's not liking it. Okay, wait. I got it. Okay, so this looks like a lot of altcoins, right? A lot of the small coins look like this. 16 cents. 8 hours. Okay. Driftless Crypto says zoom out. Definitely. You have to zoom out on this. If you get caught flying around with algos trying to trade off headlines, you're going to miss the massive opportunity here. First trade is never the right trade. Now, Polkadot, I'm showing has support. Rather, it's the closest thing to support at 527. CH says 14K, no way. I hope you are right. I hope you are right. I really don't want to see Bitcoin at 14K because that would be an absolute mess. But you cannot underestimate what can happen in illiquid markets. Okay. Now, the good news is, okay, there's support in Avalanche at 1445. Okay. So Avalanche may almost be there. One great thing would be if they just did one final heave overnight and that payroll number came out and said the Fed and the whole tightening program is backfiring on them. Wouldn't that be funny? Seriously, like somebody said that earlier. Wouldn't it be funny if it was like one last down trade and the crazy, like, what would be the trade no one would ever do, hence it might work, is to buy it before the payroll number. Is let it be down only out of fear and let these numbers print and it just takes off. Okay. Motley says, finally caught a live stream and Baby Whale thinks it's funny, and it is, that this thing being down only like this could end with one number. Remember, crisis, panic, commodities, tightening cycles. It's that time of year, and you want to make sure that you can take advantage of it when it happens. In other words, everything that's happening now has happened before. So here's something funny on the 4-hour chart of S&P, right? You have a 13 bottom. So this actually creates an argument that if this payroll number is weak enough, that this whole thing could turn around and go up. So I know everyone had to listen to all that, history, right? But if you go back and you look at DXY, DXY is actually down today, right? Like, this is the hope for crypto, is that the dollar is garbage. I mean, I got 2 occurrences off eclipses with the dollar crashing, right? 1816, no, 3. 1816, 2005, and 1986. So all that stuff's not depressing. Because if the dollar crashes, can you imagine where crypto's going to be? Can you imagine how funny it'll be? Be like, yeah, we were talking about a dollar crash. And while we were talking about it, everybody was selling crypto and gold. Notice gold is up today. So obviously, Gold Retriever, I'm in the Gold Retriever universe. I work for the company. I own the token. Okay, the price of gold is relevant for our altcoin. Because when you hold it, you earn rewards in packs. And I'm hoping my packs rewards explode in value, to be honest with you. Because I'm hoping this is gold 89 minute. Just to be clear, I'm hoping that this was the give up trade in gold. And frankly, when you look at Bitcoin, I'm hoping this is the give up trade in Bitcoin. I'm hoping this is just people quitting. Because if that's the case, you have one heave and you could be done. The only question is, where do they heave it to? Okay, PK says, DXY needs to fall. Warrior Mama says, how do U.S. tax deadlines typically affect crypto? Excellent question. Okay. U.S. tax deadlines can affect crypto because people sometimes have to sell crypto to pay their taxes. And if anybody was lucky enough to get out of real estate in the first quarter of this year and collect a gain from something they owned long term, they may puke out some crypto at a loss to offset the gain on their taxes. So sometimes when people need to pay their taxes, crypto can get smacked. Now, it's not my first choice of indicators, but it is an interesting question. Okay. Interesting question. MMC John says, please don't say it can go lower. The market does whatever the F it wants. Yes, that is true. What I think it's going to do, what you think it's going to do, doesn't matter. Mr. and Mrs. Market determine what happens. But what you can do is you can be ready. Because if you have dollar crisis and panic in the back of your mind, and this market presents you an opportunity to get long, okay, or to add to holdings, or to enter new holdings for a multi-year move. That's the lesson of GANN today, is that there is going to be a trend that starts possibly mid-March, possibly April, possibly June. You could be talking about life-changing money if the dollar crashes in crypto. You could be talking about life-changing money in gold, in options for gold stocks, right? You could be talking about life-changing money if everyone gets bearish equities. Equities bottom in March and then keep going up all year. How funny would that be? People are too bearish in equities. And you should not despair in crypto. Note, it's just the red hat today, not the red shirt, right? Red hat, green shirt. Think bullish, but don't get mauled by the bear. Don't get mauled when people are panicking. Take advantage when people are panicking. All right, folks, that's the market update. We will see you tomorrow after the payroll number.